for you guys, how do you channel the teen mindset when you're creating these books for them to make sure that it's engaging and it's relatable and all of that?
It really helps when you have a teen sitting next to you. There were actually things that we'd write and Sammy would say, absolutely not. Nobody says that anymore. What, on fleek, that's what I learned on this book tour. I'd never heard that before. On fleek, right? How many kids here know what on fleek is? How many adults have never heard of that before? Yeah, okay. So this is what a gender gap looks like.
All your books are on fleek, we can say that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Right.
But I know that for me, having her there was like having a reality check all the time, because she would be able to say, that's not what a teen would say, or that is what a teen would say. Very often, one of the things I like the most about writing with you is that the way she would see the world is very much the way a teen would see the world. One of my favorite metaphors that she came up with was the idea of popular girls clustered together like grapes, because do you ever see just one? Right? And as soon as she said it, I just stopped typing and started laughing, because it was so spot on. But that's exactly the way a teenage girl would see that in high school. And I write a lot of teens. In a lot of my adult books, I love the teenage voice, because if you put a teenager in a book, it's a built-in BS meter. They don't let anyone get away with anything else. And because of that, when I'm writing one of my grown-up books, I often will interview teens to make sure that I'm thinking and speaking the way that they would speak. But it was a little different, I think, to write this book, because we were going back, like Meg was saying, to this point of remembering what it felt like the very first time you found someone who felt like your other half. And it was really, in this case with Oliver and Delilah, it's really hard to connect with that person. And I should also say the other really strange thing for me about YA fiction is I read a lot of YA fiction. I don't think YA fiction gets the kind of coverage that it should, because in many ways, very much like the comic book world, it is the leading edge of uncomfortable subjects. So you have something like mental illness, you have something like, young kids who are coming out or who are transgender in David's books. You have a lot of, you have Laurie House Anderson's incredible books about PTSD and about sexual assault. You have things that a lot of adult authors are too scared to talk about that are going on in the YA world, and I think that's an incredible thing and a really good way to start conversations with young people that they should be having. Ironically, I have so many of those conversations when I write my adult books that I actually step back to do something that was very light and sweet. And, there's an emotional resonance to Off the Page, too. There's sadness that happens in that book. But for me, it was a total breath of fresh air to come back to the YA world and to write.